trust that you never be lonely.
Hey everyone, Backyard Buffalo here. You ready to rip this up? Alright, I know you are, so I'm going to hop right into it. So, today, we are going to be going over team building strategies. So, the best way that I find when I'm looking at building a team is just going straight into your heroes, switching it to roll, and I get a little irritated when I see all these question marks, exclamation points, so excuse me. They're question marks to me. I need to get them done. If you didn't notice, I'm usually in like the middle of trying to explain stuff, and I'm doing this. Okay. So, when you're building a team, you definitely want to have a tank. Because if you don't have a tank, I cannot not stress this enough. If you do not have a tank, you are going to drop like a fly. Your team is going to collapse and just completely fall off. Because the tank takes all the damage because he's in the front trying to be like, hey, look at me, bud. And you know, you need to have a tank. That is like priority number one. And you know what? It's not even like, I've seen a lot of people sometimes go 2 tanks. That's why there's like secondary tank characters, such as Fix-It Felix. We also have Hades. He's a good secondary. One of my favorite secondaries is Rex and Mr. Incredible. Those are some of my good secondary tanks. The reason why I call them secondary tanks is because they're not quite as bulky as like Hercules or Bo Peep or even Baymax or Goofy for that matter. Those are main tanks. So what I would recommend if you're using a main tank is to go with Bo Peep or Olaf or Baymax. Those are really good main tanks. Hercules is also good, and so is Goofy. So, and if you want secondary tanks, I would recommend using Rex, Mr. Incredible, or even Hades. His burn damage is pretty good. Queen of Hearts is actually a really good main tank. So, those are just some suggestions that you could put in your team. On to the damage. Now, normally, in the normal team building, the reason why there's so many damage characters, more than other ones, is because of the fact that usually you have 2 damage dealers. So that's why you would normally take 2 damages. I usually try to stick to the guide that they recommend, like on when you're building one. So for 2 damages, you want to have a ranged damage or a melee damage. Now you can go with 2 melee damages. I actually do quite often. It's good for blocking like weak backliners such as Elsa, Mike. Juana's really bulky. She's almost like a second tank that does a ton of damage and massive attack speed. So she is like I don't know, she's kind of like a mid damage because she like jumps up with her aura and slaps you, but then she can just sit in the back line and just rapid fire slap you with her aura, and while proccing shields and heals like crazy. So the melee damages, as you can see, my higher end, I use quite a lot of them. So things that go good in a team, having a ranged one, because they are far back, they usually have lots of really good burst damage, but some of the melee characters have been having lots of good burst lately. So Merida's good, Zerg is really good. Now, if you have like a really hefty frontline, Zerg like just won't even be touched, and unless you got someone like Peter Pan or Aladdin that just hops right into the back line. Darkwing Duck too, he just swings over everybody and just goes right to the back. So they've gotten characters now to deal with the backline burst down, such as Calhoun and Merida. And Zerg. Zerg is like, he has the highest damage for like bursting people down, because he just not only does it to one person, he does it to like the whole team. So does Merida though, for that matter. Stitch is really, really good. He's a good range character. He's actually one of my favorite characters. And he is really good for just like bursting down one target at a time. He's really, really, really good for bursting down one target, because he pops out his 4 guns and he just bursts you down like it does, and it crits too, like all of them crit. It's like, there you go, eat 6 bullets, one guy, he just empties their health within like seconds. Truly phenomenal stuff. If you guys want, you guys can go back into my other videos where my Stitch on my other account is orange, and yeah, he just bursts like everything down really fast. So you have 2 damages. You can have 2 melee characters, or you can have a melee and a range character, or a mid and a melee. That works too. Now, it is highly recommended that you take a support character, because not only do they offer you lots of utility, a lot of them have buffs, very big buffs, such as speed boost, which is Judy Hopps and Woody here. Or you could have a healer and a buffer, which is Mickey, just more of a utility all around. We got Joy. She shields a person that gets to half health. Probably one of my top supports at this point in time. And so her skills are really good, because she gets lots of happiness, and she puts on bubbles, and she heals you up to full health, and she gives you little buffs. Now, Timon and Pumbaa is a new character, but they are quite skilled because of the fact that they have heals. They can barrel down, and knock back a bunch of people, and they can also throw little nuke bombs from the side. So this is like a really good, they just put Timon and Pumbaa in, but this support character is like really awesome, because not only do you have heals, he charges, and they're also kind of bulky, so it's like a secondary tank. Judy Hopps is also another secondary type of tank. And you also have Violet, which is massive shields. Kevin Flynn has a shield and a heal. He's more of a all-around utility support. Now, I highly recommend you pick up a control character. I like all the control characters. They all have their own awesomeness to it. Like, I'd have to say Hero is good. Ursula is good. All these characters are really good. They all have curses. Either curses, snares, stuns, slows, freezing, knockbacks. It's a very high utility. They basically try to keep your team immobilized, or the other team immobilized completely. So, we're gonna hop into Arena, since PvP is a good place. We are going to we're gonna keep our team. Okay. Now, we're going to head on up here. We're a little too low for that quite yet, and we're just going to scroll on down here. Oh, you know what? I think we might actually be able to take this guy. Alright. I'm higher up in the ranks now, and now I'm going to have to grind for a while. I might get put down, but I'm going to try. Keep fighting. We're going to go hit up the Coliseum so we can build 3 different teams. We're going to use our strong team. You've seen me use this before. I've explained their kits in past videos. And I explained all of their, with Elsa and her double freeze damage. And I don't think that we can fight anybody else for now. We're going to pick up this gold crate here. And we're going to head on over to your Coliseum. 87. I have 111. Okay, well, we're going to fight you. So, we're going to completely clear the board. Now, when building teams, I suggest that you look when you're building a team. I literally usually I just clear the board and build a team like base to take these guys down. So, this person made a team with 2 support characters, a marksman, 2 marksmen, and a front or a mid damage person. So, we're gonna go, since this should be pretty straightforward to deal with, we're gonna go with Olaf. We're gonna keep them frozen because freezing is good against shields, so that shield. And we're gonna go with anger to heat it up and burst it down. We're gonna go with Timon and Pumbaa. We're gonna knock them back, keep them from doing damage. And we're gonna go with Hero because if he gets a stun off, then they're basically done. So we need 1 more damage character, and we're gonna go with Ducky and Bunny. Alright. That's a front end damage. So, this guy has Hercules. So, a good counter for Hercules would be another freeze character because of his invincibility. We're going to go with Baymax to get some shields. We're going to pick up Ursula for her curses, which is going to help Elsa with her freezing, because freeze plus curse, and then the burst from both of them just melts people. We need a front line damage, so we're going to go with Beast. And we're going to go with Joy. So, for our last team, we're going to go with Bo Peep to block Goofy, because he is, like, really up in your face, trying to blind you. So she's going to start spinning and walking forward and just knocking everything back. We got 2 control characters here, so we're definitely going to need some snares there. We're going to go with Kevin Flynn for a support to get rid of these stuns. Now, Kevin Flynn has a power cleanse. That's his special ability. So when all these guys like do their charming, which is Nick, and also Gaston, the main damage is probably Buzz, and you have freezing in there and blinding. So they've got a lot of coverage right here. So we're gonna go with Duke Kaboom, and we're gonna go with Eve because of the snaring and stunning. And that looks about good. Alright, let's go. We're going to see how our teams have panned out. Now, do you see how quick that team went down due to not having any tank? Alright. So you look at the enemy's characters, you try to pick characters that you haven't already chosen to counter the characters. So if you got a guy that does lots of burst damage, having freezing, having snaring, is stunning. Now melee damage, I highly recommend using freezing or stunning of some kind. Or snaring, just something to stop them from being in your face. Alright, so I hope that helped with everybody if you're looking to build teams, or how me personally I go about building teams. You could try it too. Or if you have a different way of building a team, then you can let me know in the comments. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so I can keep ripping it up Buffalo style. And don't forget the bell.
Fan, that's what they call me. Promise that you'll never be lonely.